Optimize your listing for more bookings. Hello, everyone. We are the real hosts of short-term rentals, and we are going to talk about this topic today from various perspectives and hopefully give you some insights into how to increase bookings for your listings. Let's dive into optimizing listings. Who would like to jump in first?
I'll jump in first, as I've not been here last couple of weeks. But so for me, optimizing your listing is really straightforward, and so many people don't do the basics to get the results that they're after. But to just dive back into every single one of your listings routinely and thoroughly every week to actually look at all your listings. Now, obviously, if you've only got one, super easy. If you've got 100, you might need to hand this off to staff or some of your team. But the key thing is that every week, all you need to do is go onto Airbnb, onto Booking.com, onto VRBO, go on each individual listing portal, see what they suggest, because on many of these, there are suggestions. So on Booking.com, you've got visibility boosters and you've got suggestions on what to do. You can follow those, really simple and easy to do. If you don't want to do them, say no. If you do want to do them, say yes. And on places like Airbnb, they're often adding extra things. So, they might be adding, like EV charges, or they might have added a new feature since you last went on there. So super important that you dive back in, see what the new features are, go through it thoroughly. And lastly, view it as a guest views it, because you might just spot something that needs changing. And all of these changes can help your listing become more visible.
I love that. So good. That's a task for your virtual assistant. For sure. So what I have mine do, because I think of myself as a user on the guest side, how long do I usually spend looking for something? And I probably spend a few visits, right? I'm just booking a trip to New York right now, and I've got kind of everything open in a tab, but I'm not ready to dive in. And then you start seeing the same thing over and over and over again. So what I like to do is spice it up and change the cover photo and alternate between my top two favorites. So if someone's searching and they kind of keep skipping over it, maybe they'll be like, oh, this is one I haven't seen yet, even though it's the exact same listing, a different picture grabbed them. So that's, from my perspective, what I like to do, because as a user, it just kind of all becomes mundane, and there might be something that they just missed and a new picture can grab them. Plus it keeps things fresh. Go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree with both those things that Liam and Deana said. I think amenities is a key thing. So I definitely, not only do I check which are the new categories and make sure they're all up to date, but I check my reviews and what are the things that people like the most, and just take note of those. And then the biggest thing that we've been doing that has seen results is we've been changing our titles to be less kind of fluffy and more specific with the amenities. It could just say like walk to something, and then golf, and then like space, just 3 bedrooms, just like almost utilitarian, almost boring. And you know what? It is converting, because people kind of know the certain things that they want. And then especially if people seem to love particular things about your place, we'll highlight those. And then the last tip I would say is don't have your cover photo be the same as something in your listing title. So in other words, if you have a great view and you can see it in the photo, you don't have to say great view in your title, because you're wasting those precious characters on something that they can just see. So try not to be redundant there. So I would say, focus on the titles and amenities.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And to add to some of the pictures and the descriptions, I used to put emojis on the titles, but now I've seen that it doesn't work. Instead, I've done in all of my listings where in all caps with an exclamation point. And I've seen a good amount of new clicks and favorites to my Airbnb listings. And I used to have a service where it changes some of the description to help the algorithm kind of show that, like, oh, there's the owner changing some stuff in the listing. Let's bring it up to the search results. So I stopped paying for that and have just been doing that on my own. And that helps trick the algorithm to get your listings back up onto the top. I think it's top 5 of the search results of whenever someone is searching in your specific area. And then in the pictures itself for amenities, what I've done recently is I have a separate graphic that shows like this the amenities, but in all one picture rather than like having the guest have to go through the entire description. It's picture number 3 that shows the exact amenities of there, either pool, if the king bed splits into 2 twin beds, is it a corporate stay? Does it go for long term? All that is in one photo. Picture number 3, typically.
So
And
is that a
then,
combination of many things in one photo?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just what I've done is I just went on Canva, put one photo, just maybe either the living room or like the exterior of the building, and then I list out the amenities on that one photo.
Mm.
Because then sometimes, like what Deana was saying, like we typically as users, we don't spend so much time on the listing. We look at the pictures. If it's shit pictures, then we're like, you know what, next one. Or it's like there's too many pictures. Now you know, like on the third slide or the third picture slide, oh, these are the amenities.
So does that, if it's the third one, is that one of the first 5 that come up when you see the listing? And then are you able to read that stuff on those little squares? I didn't ask that very well.
Yeah, if you're searching, you'd have to click on the listing itself to be able to look at it.
Yeah, because most people are on their mobile, so they're not going to see the 5.
Yeah. That's great advice, Ray, and I have something to add to that. First of all, the photos in your listing are the most important thing. That's number one. When people are scrolling through, and do yourself a favor if you haven't done this recently, go into either your market or another market, pretend you're going on a stay, or if you're actually going on a stay, this is a great exercise to do, and go through the listings like you would a consumer to see what stands out to you. You'll get lots of ideas from doing that. But going back to pictures and inserts, you know what's on your property. So if you take a picture of the garden and in the garden there is a barbecue. So in your mind, you've got the garden and the barbecue and people are seeing that. Well, not everyone is seeing that, especially as people are searching on their mobile phones, or if they're going quickly through things, they may not actually see the barbecue that is there. So my suggestion is use the picture of the garden and then do a little insert of a close-up of the barbecue that's inserted on top of that garden picture on the side. So in the lower left side, upper left side, right side, etc. So you have one insert close up of whatever amenity is that you want people to see in that picture. It'll really help people focus in on the fact that you have that barbecue or whatever it is that you want them to see. In terms of pictures, you may think that the cover picture is the best one, that everyone's going to be rolling over about this picture and will book your property. It may not necessarily be so. Just because you like it, it may not be the fact that other people like it. I use a service called IntelliHost. And in IntelliHost, you can take your top 5 pictures, which you've determined. You can switch them around, wait a week to 10 days, and it will actually tell you how many people are clicking on that picture versus the previous one. So you'll know which picture really works best for you. In terms of the description, you've only got a limited number of characters. Put in your key amenities. If your place has a pool, if your place has a hot tub, if your place has a pool table, whatever the key amenities are, including a spectacular view, I would say, put that in there with just simple slashes, straight slashes in between each amenity. So those are the key things that people are looking for, and they'll see it quickly. The same thing in the description. People don't have the time, especially if they're looking at multiple different listings, to read a whole paragraph of text when they first come to your listing. That top section, the summary section, should just be bullet points. It should be a check mark with 5 things, key things about your property, no longer than one sentence. You don't want those to wrap around, so that after those 5 things, when you're looking at the listing, it just says more, and people can then click on the more. Then you can have a paragraph of text about your listing, and the rest of it should mostly be bullet points. So if you have a living room, you have the living room and check mark that it has a great comfortable sofa, or it has a fireplace, or it has whatever it is. So people can very quickly see what's in each one of the rooms. So those are the key things to look for. You want it to be something that people can just quickly get all the information and then make a decision.
I love that. It's like ChatGPT has almost ruined brevity for people. So take your ChatGPT description and say, turn this into bullet points that are super easy for someone to read, and get rid of those like super descriptive paragraphs, because you're right, it does need to be quick. And that's why I love Michael's tip for the titles, because when I'm searching, I just want to see downtown, 2-bedroom, for me, most important, king bed, like that's all I want to see. So then I can see, okay, so this one's not a king bed anymore. It's off the list. Oh, 2 bedrooms. It's only 1 bedroom, off the list.
Yeah.
Like I love the super boring titles for sure.
It's counterintuitive, but it works.
Just on that as well, I don't know if you guys have used something called Hemingway, but you can take any piece of text and you can go on Hemingway online, and it's a free kind of app where you can take your text description from your listings and just put it in there, and that'll grade your readability. That'll give you if it's a high number, that means, hey, this is really hard to read, and like people from Cambridge and Oxford will love it. Like this sounds really intelligent. But actually what we want is to aim for like 4 or below, to make it super easily for people to read. And like you say, Deana, that just makes such a difference. And while we're packing in the value on this episode, because I think I'm learning a lot on this, so hopefully everybody else is picking up tips, you got me thinking with your adding in the image within the image. I really like the idea of that. And that got me thinking overall of IntelliHost is a fantastic tool to see what's working and what's not. And I know from interviewing the founder, Jeff, he mentioned the best way that you can get your listings to be more visible, which is what this is all about, is to just wow people with a couple of the reviews. So if you find that your reviews are slipping, like I know we're all aim for 5-star, but inevitably we get 4 stars from time to time or lower. But when you get those low reviews, just make sure the next few guests go in there, just make sure you wow them a little bit more, put in that extra bottle of wine, or just give them a free late checkout, whatever you can do to make sure that the next few people give you a 5-star review. Because ultimately, the higher your review score, that is one of the fundamental ways that you can get your listing more seen, the better the review ones. And that's because the OTA wants the person seeing those to be confident in booking, and that's how they're going to earn money. So that's one tip. And lastly, while we're talking, that was a tip for obviously Airbnb, but it does work for the other ones. A tip for Booking.com users. On Booking.com, you've got a choice of what commission you pay, and nobody wants to pay more commission, right? So everyone sticks at the lowest possible commission percentage, and you can actually raise that percentage by just 1%. So instead of, if everyone else is paying 15%, you can go in your settings, push it to 16%, and instantly Booking.com is going to show your listing above theirs, because they make more money, right, if they sell your listing. So it's a really simple tip. If you're finding you're not getting bookings from Booking.com, increase your percentage by 1% on the visibility booster, and hopefully you'll get more of your unfair share of guests than everybody else who's just on the 15%.
Wow.
I love that. And Liam, I wanted to just add to your review thing, and it is really important to get high reviews. One of the things that you can do is actually take a screenshot of, or not even a screenshot, but copy the actual review, put it into Canva, make it look really nice, and add that as one of the pictures in your listing, so that when people are scrolling through the pictures, they can actually read that that great review without having to go into the reviews, because not everyone goes and looks at each one of the reviews when they're booking. They may just look at the pictures and overall review. But I think that can also help.
This episode would be great training for your virtual assistants. Anyone. There's so many hot tips in here. Any favorites that you guys are going to implement?
I think all of them, for me at least. And the things that we talked about ChatGPT for, I think I want to use for some of my listings. SEO is really important nowadays for even Airbnb, Booking.com. If you optimize those descriptions and ask ChatGPT, hey, bullet it out, but also like make sure that it's SEO optimized, or sounds redundant. It's SEO, then that could potentially help you even on the Google side. If you're someone searching on Google and not going on Airbnb specifically, you can absolutely utilize ChatGPT for that. So
I love that, Ray.
After this call.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I use ChatGPT. I hate that name. I wish they would change it. It's so techy. But anyway, I've never used that platform, ChatGPT, for SEO optimization, and I think that's a great add to take once you've done your listing, to take it, copy the listing, put it into ChatGPT, and say, can you optimize this for SEO? Brilliant. Well, it was a shorter episode than normal, but I think that we packed in some really good nuggets into this episode, and we hope that you were able to get some great tidbits from all the input. We meet once a week and we tackle a different topic every week. So we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of The Real Hosts of Short-Term Rentals next Tuesday. Thank you again for joining us, and take care. Bye-bye for now.